Today I'm looking forward to discuss how we can read a CSV file using Python pandas and store that information into a data frame. Then we are going to access the data frame to retrieve various rows and columns based on our business need. And I am going to use a Jupyter notebook as my IDE, and feel free to use any IDE of your choice. To get started, let's look at this piece of code where I am importing pandas module as PD. That means going forward, I would refer pandas with the short name PD. And I'm importing one more module random, and this random module will be used as down the line I'm going to create some random numbers as well. If you look at this line of code where I am reading a CSV file over the internet with the method pandas.readcsv, and I'm storing this information into a data frame, and I call this data frame with the name df0. This df0 has a attribute called shape, and when you call this attribute it returns two numbers. One is count of rows and the other one is count of column, and we store that information into variable rows and column. This data frame dot shape is actually an list, and this list can be referred by two values 1 and 0. 1 refers for the column and 0 refers for the row. So here, for our convenience, I am printing the number of rows and number of column by saying print rows for the rows itself, and for column I am using the list and I am passing the parameter 1 because parameter 1 refers to number of column. This is the most interesting one where I am having a for loop, and this for loop is going to loop as many times as we have number of rows. In this scenario, we have 500 number of rows, so this for loop is going to loop 500 times, and it's going to create a random number between 10 and 99, and this is going to be stored into a new column by name rand, and which will reside in the data frame 0 itself. And then if you want to have a look at the data frame, this is how it would look, where the first column is the index, and then you have the first name, last name, all those information, and the last one is the newly added column rand. Okay, so now let's say we want to move forward and do some, let's say we want to access a particular row in this, and like you don't want to look at the whole table or the whole data frame, and you want to just look at one particular row. What we can do is, if you want to just access one row, you can say data frame iloc. Iloc is for locating a particular row by a integer number, and when I say iloc 0, it's going to display the first row, and the output is going to be in the form of a series. So whatever information you found in the first row, all those information is displayed here in the form of a series. Excellent. Now let's say I don't want the first row, I want the last row. So then we need to know the number of rows, and we need to pass that as a parameter. But Python gives us a convenient way to get the last row. That is, we can pass -1 as a parameter, then that would pull the last record as per this information. Well, if you want the second last, is there a way we can do that? Yes, of course. If you want the second last row, you can do a similar command, dataframe.iloc, and pass minus 2 as a parameter, and it's going to give you the second last row as the output, and all of these are in the form of a series. But now let's say I don't want each and every row in sequence like this. Instead, I want to see all the names. Is there a way I can see just the first name for all of them? Yes, it's possible to do that. The way to do that is we say data frame dot ilock, and the first parameter here is going to refer for the rows, and the second parameter here is going to refer for the columns, and we separate those two with a comma. And when I say colon, that means I am referring to all the rows and only the first column. So if I do this, it's going to display me the first name of all in this file, the CSV file or the data frame. By this way, we can get to see all first name in the data frame. Now let's say I don't want just the first column, or I want to display the last column. So yes, that's possible too. What we can do is we can say ilock colon comma minus 1. So this is going to display the last column, which is the rand column, and we can see the rand column name is here, the length is here, the data type is here. Very nice. Okay, now I don't want one column at a time. Can we display multiple columns together? Of course, it's possible to display multiple columns together. What we can do is when you have multiple columns together, you put that in a square bracket, and you pass the column numbers you need. So I say colon, that means all the row, comma. Now I'm going to refer for columns, and I say within square bracket 0 comma 1, that means I am referring to the first column and the second column. If I do that, we are going to see the output. Here we see the first name and the last name for all the members, and I also see the the index here, and it's showing across all the rows, right? So this is pretty neat. But now, instead of specifying every column like that, can I give a range of column? Yes. So in this particular scenario, when I say 0 colon 2, that means I am specifying a range. The range is column 1, 2, but not 3. So that means starting from column 0, I want two columns. So if you see this output, it's going to look very similar to the one above, because here I say starting from column 0, I want two columns, right? And here it is going to show same as the one before, it's just the syntax is little different. Okay, now if I have a statement something like this, I say ilock 0 colon 5. So I'm not specifying anything about column. That means it's going to show all the column, and I want to show rows starting from first row going all the way 5 of them. So let's see how the output comes up. So this one, the output is a data frame, and here you see the first row is 0, and it goes all the way till the 4. So that is a total of 5 column. So if you notice, these are all data frame because they contain multiple rows and column, so they are data frame itself. Now if I want to specify a column number and row number, what I can do is I can say ilock, and within square bracket I can specify the numbers. So when I specify numbers 0, 5, 10 and 15, so it's going to display first, 6th, 11th and 16th row. And when I say 0, 1, 4, it's going to display first, second and fifth column. So let's look at this output. So this is a data frame itself. So basically this is a subset of the bigger data frame, and it shows a smaller data, which is what we are looking for. Now in this example what we have done is we have specified the column and the row position, but it's possible to do in terms of range as well. So if you look at this piece of code, here I say ilock 0 colon 5. That means starting from first row, 5 of them, and starting from first column, 3 of them. So if I do something like this, the output is containing 5 rows and 3 columns. Okay, excellent. Now moving on, let's say I don't want to use the same index. I want to use a index which is unique. What can I do? Here we have the index running number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to identify each row with a unique value. I don't want to use first name or last name because two people may have the same first name. So the best option I can think of is the email ID itself. So what I can do is I can say going forward set my index as email and in place equal to true. That means I want to do it in the data frame 0 itself in the same memory location, and show me the top 5 record. I say dot head. Now if you notice, I don't have the running number as index. Instead, I have email ID, which will be my index going forward, and I am going to have all this field as before. Okay. Now moving on, if I want to identify or I want to access any record, I can say lock and I can specify the email ID. So if you notice previously we were saying ilock when we are passing a integer value, and now I am passing this my index or my index value, then I am specifying as lock because no more I am passing integer, and if I pass this email ID, it is going to return a series and which has all the value for one specific row. So what happens if you want multiple records? If you want multiple records, what we can do here is we can pass multiple email ID in a list. So if you do that, I am passing two email IDs within a square bracket, and it's going to return a data frame, and it has rows and column, two rows and all the column, and it's going to show me the output, right? Now I don't want all the columns, so what can I do? Yes, you can specify the name of the columns as well, and because you are using .loc, we are going to write out the name of the column. And I prefer to write out the name of the column because tomorrow you change the structure of data frame, still this statement is valid. If you insert a new column, then the if and if you're passing integer as a parameter, then you lose all those positioning. So that way it's always better to use LOC if you know your file structure is going to change. Now let's go ahead and execute this command, and when you execute this command you see these two email IDs and you are seeing only three columns, which is first name, company name and city. Of course email ID always shows up because that's part of the index. Now I changed my mind. I don't want to use email ID as my index. Instead, I want to use the random column as my index. So what I need to do is first I need to reset it. For reset, I say reset index. That means remove the existing index, and then I say set index rand. So now always I say in place equal to true. That means I am referring to the memory location where the current data frame exists, and all these changes happens to the same data frame. Okay, so when I execute this, what it's going to do is it's going to create a new index rand. And now if you want to access that particular rand index for a particular value, I can say LOC 88 or any other value, and it's going to display all the records which has 88 as the random number. So this is a very interesting feature. So let's say in your company there are so many employees and you want to pick employees based on some random order. You can create this random number 1 to 100 or whatever it may be, and you can pick in sequence saying that today all employee on number random number 4 would show up to office, tomorrow it would be 7. So that way it's a unbiased random selection of employee for whatever reason it may be. Okay, so now we are able to filter the records based on this random number. And one more important feature to be noticed on this line set index is this rand is not required to be a unique column. That means it can have duplicate or multiple values. So here we can see there are 5 records with same number 88. Okay, in the past I used email ID because it's unique, because I wanted to identify only one record for a email ID. But now my business need is different. I want to group people based on certain random numbers. Okay, now let's say I change my mind once again and I say let's reset the index, and now let's set first name as my index. And if I do this, now again I see the first name as my index and remaining information all are showing up as column. So the random email, all those things are now moved into the data frame, and the first name is the index column. Now let's say what I want to do is I want to specify the first name within square bracket. That means for these three first names, show me the column starting from city all the way till web. Okay, so this way what I see is I see three records and columns starting from city all the way till web. This is one more way to display a data frame where you can specify the range of column and you can specify specific list of records. Now let's say I want to do the opposite of what I have done now, where I am going to specify range of names but a specific column name. So here column are only three of them: company, city and web, but the name will range between these two. So if I run this, I see there are four names with the three column: company, city and web. Of course, the first name always shows up because now that's the index. Can we have range for both rows and column? Of course, we can do that as well, where you use colon and you specify the range for both rows and column, and this way we can see that we have columns ranging from city till web, and there are three records between these two names. Now moving on, so let's say can I specify specifically rows and column? Yes, we can do that way as well. So if I do that, I specify three names and two columns, and it shows me exactly what I need. right? So these are the different ways we can select rows and column. We can use ilock when we are passing the integer value, or we can use lock when you are specifying by index, or the index for the rows, and the column name you specify the name itself. Okay, the next one is a interesting one where you call the data frame two times. First time you call and you create a logic. That means it's going to return trues and false for every column. So here what you're doing is, in this piece of code, I say data frame last name equal to certain value, then it's going to check every row in the data frame and it's going to return true only for one row. Because I specified only one name, it's going to search for that and it's going to say true, true, no, false, 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 and one true, then again false, false, false. So it's going to pull only one record. And for that record, it's going to pull the company name and the county, and then it is going to pass that as a parameter to the lock, and for the data frame it's going to pull that information. So this way we are able to pull one row and we are able to see these two columns with the first name, right? Instead, let's say I have the code something like this, where I say city is so and so and show me the county. And if you do that, it's going to show me where city is the given value and the county is whatever value that city is in. Now, if you notice, this is returning a series and this is not returning a data frame. But if you want a data frame, what should you do? If you want a data frame, then to Python you have to pass a list. If you pass a list, automatically it returns a data frame. So you get the same output, but now the output format is a data frame because the input was a list in a square bracket. So based on your business need, if you want a data frame or a series, you can pass just the value or the list. Okay, now I have this logic where email ID is so and so and return me the data starting from email, the column starting from email till the city. Okay, so if I run this, it's going to show me the output where the first one, this one is going to create the logic true and false, and only for one record it's going to be true, and for that particular record we are going to show information all the way from email till city, and that is shown here as a output. Now let's say you know one particular record where the email ID is a Hotmail ID, but you don't know the other details. So how can we search? For that, we have a data frame method string dot ends with. So you can say like this, data frame email. So here you are specifying the name of the column in the data frame column email. In that string ends with hotmail.com. If you say something like this, it's going to find true and false for which records do end with hotmail. It's going to identify them as true, and the one which ends with gmail or something else, it's going to identify that as false. And then once again we call with loc. Here when it calls this data frame.loc, it's going to show only records which has email hotmail email id. Let's execute this and see how the output looks like. And if you notice, this output contains all email ids that are hotmail. So there are 11 of them. Now our life is little easy that we have filtered it down to 11 rows and identify the one you are looking for. Now let's say instead of this you want to the last name, and let's look at this piece of code. The data frame dot last name, so our data frame last name, this is the name of the column, is in. This is like in the SQL we have in clause like that is in, and we specify these three name. So you know the last name is one of these three, and you want to search, so hopefully it will return three rows because these are the three values we have specified. Let's execute and see do we get three rows. And if you notice here when I execute I get only two rows. So maybe one of them was not the right last name as in the system. So maybe it was a first name, but two of them are the valid ones and we show that here. Okay, and the last name are shown here. So the Eric was the one which didn't show up. So maybe Eric is the first name and by mistake I thought it's a last name. Anyways, now in this statement I am saying email ends with Hotmail and last name. So I just know the last name and I know he has a Hotmail ID. So with this I can filter up by rows and columns. So if I do this, it is returning exactly one row, and this way it helps. So there are times you want to slice and dice differently based on what information you have, and you want to pull the data we need from the data frame. So you can filter by rows, columns, or various different ways. Okay. Now let's say I look at this rand column, and in the rand column I want to pull records within certain values. So here I say data frame rand column is greater than or equal to 24, and the same rand column is less than or equal to 25. So that means values 24 and 25, and I want to display column postal web and rand, and all of that I am passing as a parameter to LOC to display the output. So let's execute this. So here I see all the columns with rand in 24 and 25, and I see postal web and rand, and first name always shows up because that's part of the index. Now let's do a lambda function, and lambda is a extremely interesting function. Here what we are doing in lambda function is first we are calling the data frame with a lambda function where I split. Let me first execute this. So if you see data frame dot company name is the column, is some we can use dot or you can use the square bracket. Data frame company name is the column. In that I am applying this lambda function, and I am splitting the company name wherever I find a space, and I identify where there are four words. Okay, and I identify them as true and the others will be false, and I pass this whole thing as a parameter to LOC, and it's going to output all the record where the company name column has four letters. So here if you see 1, 2, and is also 1, and the third one, a fourth one is here, right? So great clips for hair. So this way it's going to search for four letter company name, and it's going to pull that information, and then it shows all the column as per the business need. So with this, I have covered what I wanted to cover for this video, and I thank you for watching this video. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I request you to please subscribe and press on the bell button for channel updates. And I will see you again in my next video. Thank you.